Hi everybody, it's Linnea for ThermOWeb, and this whole week we are collaborating with LDRS Creative. So be sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, to head over to the ThermOWeb blog and leave comments not only on this post, but on all the posts throughout the week, because there is a prize to give away. So let's jump right in to my card. I ended up actually making 2 cards out of one technique, which is something that I love to do. I have the LDRS Creative Poinsettia stamp all set up in my MISTI here, and I am using LDRS Creative Watermark Emboss ink and inking this up really well. I'm going to ink this up 2 or 3 times because I want to make sure that I have a lot of embossing ink on here. And then I'm using LDRS Creative Clear Embossing Powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on, making sure that I'm covering all of the areas. And then I will heat set this. And this is gorgeous on its own, heat set with that clear embossing powder. But I'm going to do this again. So that's why I'm using a stamping tool. And I'm actually going to go ahead and add some adhesive onto the back here, just some temporary adhesive. I want to make sure that this is not going to buckle inside of my MISTI because I want to stamp again with that watermark embossing ink right on top of my previously stamped image. I'll sprinkle on more of that clear embossing powder, and I will heat set that again. And you can see now that that image is quite raised. And I'm going to show you how to add foiling to heat embossing. Now I do want to say that the foiling with heat embossing works best with a fine detail image, like this poinsettia stamp. Before I add my foil, I'm going to add some ink on the background. I'm using LDRS Creative ink, and this is Scarlet Rose. In the end, you couldn't really tell that I used this ink blending, so you could definitely skip this step, but I thought it would bring some nice dimension onto the edges. But like I said, in the end, I don't really think that you can tell. I'm using gold Deco foil transfer sheets, and I'm going to just take a piece and I'm going to trim it down so that it is just slightly larger than my panel. Just trimming that down with scissors, and then I'm going to run that through my laminator. I'm going to use a carrier sheet, and I have had my laminator preheating this whole time. So it is good and hot, and I'm going to run that through and check this out. I have near perfect results. The only place the foil did not transfer perfectly is kind of in the chunkier areas, and you can not really tell unless you are really looking for it, which is awesome. So like I said, that's why you want to use a fine detail stamp like this poinsettia stamp. I always say keep your negative pieces, don't throw them away, and today I'm going to show you how to use them because I just thought this negative piece was too pretty to even put aside for later. So I have iCraft 6x6 adhesive sheets, and this is basically just a double-sided adhesive in a full sheet. I have a piece of green cardstock. It's actually a scrap piece of cardstock from another card that I didn't end up liking. So you're going to see I have some stamping on the back of it. Totally okay. I'm just going to adhere or put this iCraft 6x6 adhesive sheet onto the side. And then I'm going to roll this into my foil. And I'm not even going to peel away the sheet. I'm just going to use scissors and trim down that background. And you're going to see, check this out. It's hard with my lights because my lights are so bright, but in real life you can absolutely see the gorgeous foiling with that green peeking through. And then the reverse, you have this red cardstock with the positive part of the foiling. So positive on the red, negative on the green, and you're going to get 2 cards super quickly. So for a sentiment, I am taking the LDRS Creative Christmas Wishes stamp set. And this is a pretty special stamp because you stamp 10 sentiments all at once, and then I'm die cutting it with the wave ribbon banner coordinating die. I'm going to use some purple tape. I'm sorry my head is right in the way, but I really want to get my head right over that and line this up. Use some purple tape. Remember, this purple tape is pressure activated, so I'm giving that a good press. Running that through, and I did do gold heat embossing on both red and green cardstock. And in the end, you're going to be able to see how different the gold embossing looks against the gold foiling. The gold foiling on this background is absolutely stunning in comparison to traditional heat embossing. It really gives a nice step up to the card background. I wanted to have a little something extra, so I die cut the LDRS Creative Miss You die from white cardstock, and I also die cut it from just a piece of typing paper. I find that it's easiest to adhere dies like this where the letters cut out separately if I use a like a guide piece. So that's all this is. It's just that die cut from some typing paper. I had positioned it where I thought that I wanted it on the card, but in the end I ended up moving it down a little bit. And then I used some purple tape just to position that in place. I'm using iCraft Ultra Bond liquid adhesive, my favorite liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to basically puzzle piece these letters in place. And I'm going to repeat this process for both of the cards, both the red background, the positive piece, and the green negative. Once I'm done, I have some Gina K Designs foam tape, and I'm going to just cut that into a skinny strip and add that onto the back of those little wave sentiments. Once my sentiments were adhered, I decided I wanted to kind of layer these cards up a bit. So I cut my panels down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and then I matted them onto the same color cardstock cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches to match those wave ribbon sentiments. And then I added those onto white card bases, and these cards are done. And when I hold these up, you're going to really be able to see the difference between the gold foiling and the gold heat embossing. The foiling is amazing with shine and dimension. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to head over to the blog and leave a comment for your chance to win a gift card to the ThermOWeb shop. Thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.